Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, YouTube. Thanks so much for joining me at the roundtable today. Awesome video for you. We're going to talk about personal branding and why it's so important. So stick around, pull up a chair. I promise you're going to enjoy it. Hey, YouTube. Hey, Michael Referzo back here with another video just for you. Let's talk about personal branding. Specifically, let's talk about LinkedIn and let's talk about that top portion of your LinkedIn profile. Why is it important? What's the big things to take away? We're going to go through an entire walkthrough of that top section and that top section only. So let's go ahead and kick this thing off and let's get started. So here we go, right at the very beginning. I am at the LinkedIn editing feature section for your LinkedIn profile. Now, it's pretty easy how to get here. What we're going to do is we're going to go to this top section. I'm going to go ahead and show this. I'm going to have my home page, and I'm going to click this little pencil. That little pencil is going to bring me to this profile here. This is where we need to start looking at some of the features that LinkedIn has to offer for you and why it's important. Very beginning, edit your custom URL. Pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. What we're going to do is we'll click this little pencil. It's going to come up with this little box here. You have 3 to 100 characters at a minimum that you have to put in here. Now, what I recommend is put something that's going to be unique to you. If you have a brand that you already have established, if you have a name that is pretty unique to yourself, that's awesome. For me, Michael Referso, there's a lot of them that are out there. So I had to do mine a little bit different. I had to put hyphens and I had to put my middle name in there to separate myself from the pack. Now, once you're done with that, just simply hit save. It's going to save your URL. What that does is it gets rid of all that alphanumeric characters at the end that's automatically self-generated by LinkedIn. It's super important to have because whenever you submit your resume, you want to provide your LinkedIn profile, but you don't want it to have that long string of letters and characters at the end of it, because then it just shows that you haven't done anything to make sure that your profile is ready to be reviewed by those hiring managers, by those recruiters. After that, let's talk about your background. Now, your background needs to be customized and it needs to fit the industry that you're in. And what I really mean by that is within a couple of seconds, I should be able to take a look at your profile. I should be able to look at that background banner and say, I know that Michael is in some type of industry. And like I had mentioned before, this is really going to be specific to you. It needs to have your own type of characteristics in it. Now, a free resource is going to be available to you. I'm not getting promotion for any of this. It's just something that I use on a regular basis, and I highly recommend it for everyone that's watching today, is Canva. Canva is an amazing and powerful tool that you can use to create your own background banner. And it's easy. You go to Canva, you get the free version. I do have the paid version, and that's because I use it on a more regular basis. So I have access to features that you won't be able to. But at the very top, just type in the search bar LinkedIn background photo. From there, it's going to pull up an entire list of things that are going to be available to you. And you can even narrow this down even further because as you can see, this got like 7,000 plus templates. That's a ton. And not all of them are really going to apply to you. And like I said, you need to make sure that it is specific to your industry. So go through, figure out what looks good to you. When you go through, you're going to see the ones here that have this little gold crown that says Pro that requires a subscription. Obviously, the nicer ones are always going to be behind that paywall. That's okay. I will tell you that there are so many really good backgrounds here that it should be no problem for you to find what you're looking for. So find one that you like. Example being, let's go ahead and pick this one right here. So when you pick on this one, it's going to allow you to, when you customize the template, again, super easy. You can go through, you can change things within it. It gives you a lot of different tools in here. You can even upload your own graphics. You can upload your own photos, anything that you've already done for yourself. You can change wording. You can add in text boxes so that you can add in some specific things to you. Really take an opportunity because this is your first impression. And just like everything else in today's world, whenever you meet someone for the first time, that's what's going to stick. That's what this needs to say. This needs to be something that is very unique to you. It speaks about your industry specifically, and it wants that hiring manager and you want that recruiter to say, yes, I remember Jonathan here because he had this very unique background banner. Let's see what else he has to offer for our company. Now, going back to my profile, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about our profile picture. Now, I will tell you right off the bat, you do not need a professional photo. It's not needed. Most of today's cameras, most of today's technology can shoot a photo for you, and it is just as good of a quality of photo, especially for someone starting out. Don't go out and spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a professional photo. Later in your career, when you're more established and you have the opportunity to do that, I recommend it. I do have professional photos done of myself, but when I first started, it was literally me, selfie, just taking a picture. Here's a couple of tips though. When you're doing your photo, make sure that your background is nondescript or is very specific to your geographic location. My first photo, I did it out backyard, had it with all the trees because I live in the Pacific Northwest. So that specifically speaks to my area because the Pacific Northwest, we're known as the evergreen state. So having that type of connection with nature really spoke to the audience that I was trying to target, which is going to be in the Seattle, the Tacoma area. Generally speaking, though, you want your background to be nondescript. You also want to make sure there's plenty of lighting on your face. That way that they can highlight you specifically. Make sure that photo is at 3/4 shot. So we're talking about right here. That's about where you want it. Anything further away, it's really hard to get a sense of who you are. Last thing I'm going to remind you is smile. You make introductions with a smile. If you're sitting there and you're playing and you have this grumpy face on, no one wants to hire that person. So make sure you're doing your best. Have a genuine smile. My trick, think of something that just makes you laugh, whether that's some type of meme or some video or some clip. Think of that just before you're taking your photo. Your face will naturally want to smile and just have that very welcoming type of posture. And that's it. That's all we're going to cover for the day. Stay tuned. More videos are going to drop. And after this, we're going to talk about the remainder of the profile. Thanks so much for joining me at the table today. Can't wait to have you come back.